Have you ever wondered how a peaceful river can turn into a torrent of destruction? A tranquil stream gently flowing can swiftly become a force of nature, obliterating everything in its path. This is the fury of floods, a fury that is as awe-inspiring as it is devastating. The power of water unleashed, cascading through towns and cities, can be as catastrophic as any earthquake or hurricane. Yet it's more than just the spectacle of destruction. These inundations are intricate puzzles born out of a complex dance between the environment and human activity. They can be triggered by natural phenomena like heavy rainfall, storm surges, or rapid snowmelt, and exacerbated by human-induced factors like deforestation and urbanization. Understanding the dynamics of these massive floods is a journey that takes us deep into the heart of our relationship with nature. In this video, we will journey into the causes, effects, and possible mitigation strategies of these mighty natural disasters. What natural events trigger these destructive floods? Let's dive into the world of nature's waterworks. Floods, though destructive, are indeed natural occurrences, often resulting from a number of natural phenomena. One of the primary instigators of floods is heavy rainfall. When the skies open up and pour down water in copious amounts, the land may not always be able to absorb it all. The excess water then follows the path of least resistance, often leading to overflowing rivers and lakes, which can result in extensive flooding. Next, we have storm surges. This is when fierce winds from a storm, typically a hurricane or typhoon, push seawater onto the land. This surge of water can be incredibly powerful, capable of causing significant flooding, especially in coastal areas. Another natural cause is rapid snowmelt. As the name suggests, this occurs when accumulated snow melts at a faster rate than usual, often due to sudden warm weather or heavy rainfall. This quickly releases large volumes of water that can saturate the ground and overflow rivers and streams, leading to floods. And let's not forget about tsunamis. These are massive sea waves caused by underwater earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or landslides. When these waves reach the shore, they can cause catastrophic flooding, often with little warning. In all these scenarios, the common thread is water, too much of it, too quickly. The land simply cannot absorb or channel it away fast enough, leading to an escalation of flood events. Nature, in all its power and unpredictability, plays a fundamental role in causing floods. However, these natural events are only part of the equation. As we dive deeper into the dynamics of floods, we'll discover that human activities also play a significant role in contributing to and often exacerbating these devastating events. As we see, nature has its ways, but do humans play a role too? Tune into our next segment to find out. How do our actions contribute to the wrath of floods? Let's dive into this question and scrutinize how human-induced factors exacerbate flooding. Foremost among these is deforestation. Trees with their extensive root systems act like sponges, soaking up vast amounts of water. When we cut down forests, we remove this natural barrier, allowing water to flow unimpeded, often leading to destructive floods. It's like removing a sponge from an overflowing sink. The water has nowhere to go but everywhere. Next, we have urbanization. As cities grow and expand, natural landscapes are replaced with concrete and asphalt. These impermeable surfaces don't allow water to seep into the ground. Instead, rainfall rapidly accumulates, overwhelming drainage systems and leading to flash floods. It's as if we've swapped our grassy backyards for a giant concrete slab, leaving the rain with no place to drain. Then there's the issue of poor land use planning. When we build homes, roads, and infrastructure in flood-prone areas without adequate precautions, we're setting the stage for disaster. It's akin to building a sandcastle too close to the sea, knowing that the tide will inevitably come in. These human-induced factors don't just increase the likelihood of flooding, they amplify its intensity. The water has less space to spread and nowhere to drain, causing it to rise faster and higher. This is why we're seeing floods that are more frequent and ferocious than ever before, but it's not just about the immediate impact. These activities also disrupt the natural balance of ecosystems, leading to long-term environmental degradation. This, in turn, can make areas more susceptible to flooding in the future. It's a vicious cycle where our actions today set the stage for the floods of tomorrow. Clearly, our actions have consequences, but what happens when these floods occur? What happens when the water starts to rise? Well, the excitement of a downpour can quickly morph into dread when too much water accumulates too quickly. Earth's natural waterways and reservoirs can only hold so much, and when they're overwhelmed, we have a flood on our hands. Let's start at the beginning. A river, ever so calm and serene, is a conduit for water flowing from higher to lower ground. However, when an excessive amount of water from heavy rain or rapid snowmelt rushes into the river, it can exceed the river's capacity. This overflow leads to the surrounding areas getting submerged, causing what we call a riverine flood. Now, imagine a colossal wall of water held back by a dam. Dams are man-made structures designed to control water flow for various purposes like irrigation, hydroelectric power or water supply. But what if the dam fails? A breach or failure can release a torrent of water downstream, leading to catastrophic flooding in a very short period. This is known as a dam failure flood. And then there are flash floods, arguably the most dangerous of them all. They occur within a short duration, typically less than 6 hours, and without any warning. Intense rainfall or the sudden release of water impounded by a natural or man-made obstruction can lead to a rapid rise of water in a low-lying area or a dry riverbed. The speed and suddenness of flash floods often leave little or no time for people to move to safer grounds. Understanding these hydrological processes is critical to our comprehension of floods. Each type of flood, be it riverine, dam failure or flash, carries with it a unique set of challenges and risks. And while nature plays her part, human activities can exacerbate these situations, leading to more frequent and more devastating floods. The resulting impact on communities can be devastating. And that's what we'll explore in our next segment, so stay tuned. What is the cost of these massive floods to our communities? The price we pay is tragically high, and it's not just in monetary terms. When floods of fury strike, they don't discriminate. They sweep away everything in their path, leaving behind a trail of devastation that takes years, sometimes even decades, to recover from. Consider the loss of life first. Every year, thousands of lives are swept away by the power of these waters. These are mothers, fathers, children, friends, individuals with dreams and hopes abruptly extinguished by the deluge. Then there's the property damage. Homes, schools, hospitals, businesses, structures that took years to build are obliterated in moments. The financial toll is enormous, running into billions of dollars annually. But the emotional cost, the loss of a lifetime of memories and hard work, is incalculable. The impact doesn't stop there. Floods also lead to massive displacement. Millions of people worldwide are forced to leave their homes, their communities, and everything they've ever known. They become climate refugees, often struggling to find new homes and livelihoods. The psychological trauma and stress associated with such displacement can last a lifetime. And let's not forget the long-term consequences. Floods can wipe out crops, leading to food shortages and economic instability. They can contaminate water sources, triggering health crises. They can disrupt education for children and increase the risk of exploitation and abuse among the most vulnerable. And yet, as formidable as these challenges may seem, they are not insurmountable. Human resilience and ingenuity have always found a way to rise above the waters. We've devised early warning systems, built stronger infrastructures, designed better urban planning strategies, and fostered community resilience. But there's always more to do. We need to understand the dynamics of floods better. We need to invest more in prediction technologies and mitigation strategies. We need to build communities that are not just resilient, but also sustainable and inclusive. With the right tools, we can better predict and prepare for these events. How is technology helping us stay one step ahead of these floods? Enter the world of technological advancements, where the battle against massive inundations is being waged. With the power of technology, we're able to predict and monitor floods like never before. It's like having a crystal ball, but instead of magic, it's filled with science and data. Satellite imagery, a tool that once was only in the realm of science fiction, is now a key player in flood prediction. It gives us a bird's-eye view of the Earth, capturing images of weather patterns and water bodies. These images provide crucial information about potential flood risks, allowing us to prepare and respond more effectively. Weather forecasting has also taken leaps and bounds in accuracy and speed. With advanced computer models and algorithms, meteorologists can predict heavy rainfall and storm surges with impressive precision. These forecasts can provide us with precious time to evacuate or take other necessary precautions before a flood hits. But it's not just about predicting when a flood will occur, but also understanding how severe it might be. That's where early warning systems come into play. These systems use data from satellites, weather forecasts, and ground sensors to predict the severity of a flood. They can send alerts to our phones, giving us a heads up about the impending danger. Imagine you're going about your day and your phone buzzes with a warning of a potential flood in your area. You have the time to secure your home, gather your belongings, and head to safety. This is the power of technology in our fight against floods, but as with any battle, there are new challenges on the horizon. Climate change is altering weather patterns and increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, including floods. These changes are adding a new layer of complexity to flood prediction. However, the changing climate is adding a new layer of complexity to these predictions. How are our warming planet and changing climate influencing floods? Let's delve into this crucial question. The Earth's climate is not a static entity. It's a dynamic, ever-changing system. However, human-induced global warming is pushing this system into uncharted territories, and one of the major consequences is a shift in flood patterns and trends. Climate change, primarily characterized by rising global temperatures, is playing a significant role in altering weather patterns. Warmer air holds more moisture, leading to heavier rainfall in some regions. This increased precipitation, in turn, can trigger more frequent and severe flooding. Moreover, rising sea levels due to melting polar ice caps are exacerbating coastal flooding around the world. Storm surges, which are essentially sea level rises associated with storms, are becoming more destructive due to these higher baseline sea levels. In addition to these immediate effects, climate change is also disturbing snowmelt patterns. Earlier and more rapid snowmelt, driven by warmer spring temperatures, can contribute to riverine flooding, especially in regions with significant snowfall. Now, what does the future hold for us? Projections indicate that these trends are likely to continue and possibly intensify as global temperatures continue to rise. We can expect more extreme rainfall events leading to more flash floods. Coastal regions will likely face an increased risk of flooding due to rising sea levels and potentially stronger storm surges. In regions where snowmelt is a significant contributor to annual water supplies, shifts in snowmelt patterns could lead to more frequent and severe flooding during the melt season. This could have significant implications for water management in these regions. Despite these challenges, there are actions we can take to mitigate the impact of floods. As we transition into the next part of our journey, we will explore various strategies to reduce the risk and impact of these devastating events. But remember, the most effective long-term solution to these problems lies in addressing the root cause, our rapidly changing climate. What can we do to protect ourselves and our communities from these destructive floods? This is a question that many of us are grappling with as we witness the increasing frequency and intensity of floods. The answer lies in effective mitigation strategies, which can significantly reduce the impacts of these devastating events. Firstly, infrastructure improvements are crucial. This includes the construction of levees, floodwalls, and reservoirs, which can help control the flow of water and prevent it from inundating populated areas. But it's not just about building new structures, it's also about maintaining and upgrading existing infrastructure to ensure it can withstand the pressures of increased water volumes. Secondly, sustainable urban planning plays a pivotal role in flood mitigation. As urban areas continue to expand, it's vital to incorporate flood risk into planning and development. This involves the preservation of natural floodplains, which can absorb excess water, and the implementation of green infrastructure like rain gardens and permeable pavements that can help manage stormwater runoff. Another important aspect of sustainable urban planning is the proper design and construction of buildings. Structures in flood-prone areas should be built or retrofitted to resist flood damage, and where possible, critical facilities should be located away from these areas. The third key strategy is the use of early warning systems. These systems, which leverage technological advances in weather forecasting and satellite imagery, can provide timely alerts about potential flood events. This allows communities to prepare and evacuate if necessary, reducing the risk of loss of life and property. However, it's important to note that these strategies are not standalone solutions. They need to be part of a comprehensive approach that includes education and awareness raising, effective legislation and policy, and community involvement. Everyone has a role to play in flood mitigation, from governments and urban planners to businesses and individuals. Examples around the world show that these strategies can make a difference. By working together and implementing effective mitigation strategies, we can protect ourselves, our communities, and future generations from the fury of floods. What can we learn from other communities that have faced the fury of floods? Let's journey around the world and delve into some significant instances of flooding. These global case studies offer insights into the diverse geographical and environmental contexts in which floods occur and the unique challenges they present. Our first stop is the Netherlands, a country that has battled water for centuries. Its innovative approach to flood management is a testament to human ingenuity. Rather than fighting against water, the Dutch have learned to live with it, creating a system of dikes, canals and pumping stations to manage water levels and protect their low-lying lands. Next, we travel to Bangladesh, a country frequently hit by monsoon floods. Here, the focus has been on developing early warning systems and building local capacity for disaster response. Schools are raised on stilts, acting as safe havens during floods, and community-based volunteers help disseminate flood warnings and coordinate evacuation efforts. Our journey takes us next to the United States, where the Mississippi River floods of the 1990s serve as a stark reminder of the power of nature. The event led to a shift in flood management strategies, with a greater emphasis on restoring natural floodplains to absorb floodwaters and reduce the impact on communities. Now we head to Australia, where the Brisbane floods of 2011 highlighted the importance of urban planning in flood-prone areas. The aftermath saw a push for the redesign of infrastructure and the implementation of building codes that consider flood risks. Finally, we look at the flash floods in the Himalayan region of India. These sudden and devastating events have spurred efforts towards improved forecasting, community awareness programs, and the construction of protective infrastructure. Each of these case studies presents a unique set of challenges and solutions, but the common thread is resilience. Communities around the world are learning, adapting, and preparing for the inevitable recurrence of floods. They teach us that resilience and adaptation are key to surviving and thriving in the face of these disasters. How do communities bounce back from these devastating events? This question takes us to the heart of community resilience and adaptation, crucial elements in the face of recurring flood events. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward, using the knowledge of past flood events to prepare for the future. It's about communities coming together, pooling their resources and experiences to build stronger, more flood-resistant infrastructures. It's about learning from each event, adapting to new realities, and fostering a culture of preparedness. Take the example of the Netherlands, a country with a long history of dealing with floods. They've developed a comprehensive approach called living with water, recognizing that water cannot always be controlled, only managed. This strategy includes building floating homes, water storage areas, and even using parks as temporary water reservoirs during high water levels. The Dutch have turned their vulnerability into strength through innovation and adaptation. Similarly, in Bangladesh, one of the most flood-prone countries in the world, resilience takes the form of community-based early warning systems. Villagers work together to monitor water levels and disseminate warnings, ensuring everyone has time to evacuate or take necessary precautions. They've also adapted their agriculture to accommodate the flood seasons, planting flood-resistant rice varieties and practicing aquaculture. These examples highlight how community resilience and adaptation are not just about infrastructure or technology. They're about people, about fostering a sense of collective responsibility and mutual support. It's about empowering each other to take action, to learn from each event, and to prepare for the next. Climate change promises a future where floods may be more frequent and more severe, but as we've seen, communities can and do adapt. They learn, they innovate, they prepare, and in doing so, they show us that even in the face of nature's fury, human spirit can thrive. This isn't just about survival, it's about the capacity to rebuild, to grow, and to prosper despite adversity. It's about acknowledging our vulnerabilities, but also our strengths. It's about understanding that every flood leaves behind not just a trail of destruction, but also a path towards resilience. Together, we can make a difference. We've journeyed through the causes and effects of floods, but what comes next? Now that we've delved into the complexities of massive inundations, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've seen how floods are not just natural disasters, but are often exacerbated by human actions. We've understood the devastating impact they have on communities and the long-term consequences they leave in their wake. Yet, we've also seen that there are ways to predict, mitigate, and adapt to these events. The fury of floods is real but not insurmountable. It's crucial that we acknowledge our role in these dynamics and take action, whether it's advocating for sustainable land use, supporting infrastructure improvements, or simply being better prepared. Every action counts. Let's use our knowledge to foster resilience and adapt to this ever-changing world. Remember, every action counts. Together, we can mitigate the fury of floods.